RaceSpotTV, welcome back to Monday Night Skippys. We've got Rachel Whiteford and Nolan Rempel with us here tonight. Hugo Louise, as always, behind the controls. And welcome to Canada. We are at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in the St. Lawrence Seaway here in Montreal, Canada. And we're up for a great race tonight. 13 laps around this street circuit on an island. As Simon Edwards locks out pole, we'll take you straight to our grid. Simon Edwards takes pole with 1 minute 34.3. English, it's hard. 1 minute 53.867 with anti-gap behind him and Claire Hughes in third. Ben Daniels and Anthony P.M. Jones ran at your top five. Behind them, it is Lee Anderson, Tom Ward, S.J. Dunning, Pete Newman, Ewan Patterson in 10th. Jake Ridlington is 11th with Andy Witt, Matthew Crisp, Nicholas Ford-Roberts, Nick Sigley, Sarah Savage, Peter Cowan, Daniel Tufts, Mark Mercer, and Bod Boland. Rest of those positions up on your screen as we get ready to go racing here tonight in French Canada. Wrong way round. French Canada. Again, English is really hard tonight, Nolan.
Well, we are in the French state of Canada, so, you know, French, I can forgive
French
you for
Canadian.
a little off.
Yeah, I was going French Canadian and it's a French Canadian for some reason, which is just weird. Either way, we're going to get ready to go to the Monday Night Skippy Racing here. Usual lineup of drivers, though. It's sad to see Sarah Savage down there in 16th rather than the top 10 she's been qualifying in recently. Of course, round at number 2 here of our Season 1 for 2020. Second to last race before the year switches over to 2020. So hopefully they've got some New Year wishes coming for them today. Either way, going to get ourselves ready to go green here in just a few seconds' time. Clock is counting down, and Simon Edwards will take us away here. Our 1 second bracket tonight is actually really, really small. In fact, it's going to be about 10 places, 11 places perhaps tonight, which shows you just how much separation there's likely to be.
Absolutely so. It's going to be a very intense race. Of course, the run down to turn 1 and 2 for the Senna. It's going to be very interesting, especially the Wall of Champions on the first lap. We're ready to go green flag racing here today.
Suddenly our engines rev up like a horde of lawnmowers and we get ready to go green. Green flag waves and we're off here into the first section here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. A tricky left-right 180 into a narrow short chute. Right here on the tip of the island. And already a car goes straight across. I believe that was... not sure who that was exactly, but that was Anthony Catt, who must have seen a cucumber on the ground and freaked out because he went flying off in a different direction to everybody else through the second corner here, filtering down to that first chicane. Rounding the bend up ahead, and we come down to our second chicane, one of the bigger braking zones on the track for these drivers. Ridlington's had a big crash as well. Jake Ridlington, the 40 car. Trying to get a replay for you what happened to him there. That was coming through that first chicane. We had a number of cars out there. Major contact, Nolan.
Certainly was. Jake Ridlington went sky high above the barriers, as a matter of fact. Here you go, see on the replay, past Anthony Catt rounding through turn number 2. There's the shunt to the back of the 58, and there's the huge leap for Ridlington, breaking that car suspension, the front wing and rear wing alike, and sending it into the wall. He is going to be done for the night.
Seems to have been a busy start to the race here as we come down to turn 10 for our leaders. Edwards with a gap already over second place, Claire Hughes there. Behind them, it is going to be Ben Daniels, Anthony Jones, Lee Anderson, and Tom Ward in that group today. Tom Ward's made a place here on Anderson. He's moving his way forwards now. He's in 5th place for the moment. But that gap for Edwards already looking pretty commanding. In a lap alone here, Nolan. That's going to be telling how this race is going to go. He definitely set one of the quicker times we've seen so far. And it was by a margin of about a tenth of a second. So he's got something going on here.
Certainly does, but he got a terrible run through that final chicane, and now it's going to be Lear Hughes who's going to go through to lead lap number 1. Hot on his heels is the number 30, Ben Daniels, trying to look to the left as they run down to turn number 1. Both drivers hard on the brakes. Daniels trying to get it done. Both cars stepping the back end out. Hughes trying to fight around the inside line. There you see Simon Edwards trying to fight back as they exit turn 2.
He should have that, of course. Holds that inside line, locks Ben Daniels to the outside as we enter turn the first chicane here. Daniels will hold it with him here, and that's going to create a big gap time-wise as he gets a slide there. Clear Hughes to get ahead and build time. Sideways through the chicane, or side by side I should say, will really not help these guys. Tom Ward closing up from behind now. He'll smell blood in the water here with the fight going on ahead of him. As Clear Hughes gets a good gap there. Edwards does defend finally and regains second place. He's going to have a very aggressive Tom Ward behind them though.
And now it is Lear Hughes that has that huge gap over Simon Edwards, second place. And Edwards, no doubt, will be looking to get a good drive through this next chicane and then through turn 10 to get that run-up that he needs to make that pass work. He's going to get a big slide on as he thunders over the big curbing on the inside of the chicane. The draft of this track, especially after turn 10, it is so incredibly powerful. That and through that flick chicane right by that wall of champions. So these cars really going to need to work it. Edwards, once again, gated that tail end, stepped out.
Really did. Just behind his group, we've got Sarah Savage. Started 16th, already in 8th after that big crash we had on lap 1. She's moved up to 8th place there. Andy Witt, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, Daniel Tufts, Mark Mercer in that group chasing them. That's kind of the bottom end of our top 10 into the top 12 positions. Up at the front, though, it is still going to be Hughes leading the way there. We have to hope that Edwards can actually really get through this final chicane here in the Wall of Champions without having another big misstep. That really upset his car last time through it. It cost him the lead, of course. A huge margin of time he lost. Holds second place for the moment. Right now, behind them, it's still going to be Daniels in third. Ward in fourth. As Daniels looks to the inside again. Will he dive this time? No, he chooses to stay out there. Holds his position for the moment. Just behind his group, there's 3 wide though into turn 1 with Savage, Witt, and Tufts. Contact happens as expected. 3 wide into turn 1 was going to happen there. And I'm trying to see what actually happens here, but it's almost as though Savage turned in too tight there to Vaughan Roberts, gets shunted sideways, and contacts Witt, sending the pair of them off.
That was almost a game of chicken right there, Rachel, and the run down to turn number 1. 3 wide in these cars, it just does not work. And unfortunately, all 3 of them seem to get the short end of the stick. All their cars are no doubt going to have some pretty significant damage from that. That's on board with Mark Mercer, who was somehow lucky enough to get through that one completely unscathed.
Really is. He's there with Tufts and Mercer right now, along with Vaughan Roberts running back here just about into the top 10. After that contact, in fact, they are all of the top 10 after that contact. Coming down here to the 3rd chicane on the racetrack. They were a little closer. They've separated out now. We've got a car off just behind them there. Looking further forwards towards Lee Anderson, tailing that top group there. SJ Dunning, the rear car. There's 2 wide there with Edwards and Daniels. Going to cost them time. 2 wide through turn 10 there. Never going to be good for making ground here, of course. You want to do a pass like down here into the 4th chicane, into where the Wall of Champions is, of course, Nolan. Because if you can pass before that point, you pass on it straight. You keep time. You don't lose time. But if you go side by side through these chicanes, you are going to burn off track position.
Well, Daniels might be looking to go up the outside, and he's not going to go in for it, but Tom Ward throws it up the inside of the braking zone of Daniels. It's going to go through into that final podium position, so your fight for first is certainly kicking off. And for the final podium position as well, now Daniels has to travel. He made the look. He's going to look for it. Will he dive it up the inside? That's what he tried to do to Simon Edwards in turn 10, try to dive it up the inside. It's not going to be as daring here. He's going to sit back, and he's going to wait for the next opportunity to come around.
He's certainly going to try it, but right now, just not quite able to get there. Not really in a good position to attack at this point, but it's not beyond him to try. Tom Ward is one of the drivers that really will go for it. Clear Hughes still leading the way here on lap number 4 of 13 tonight. And Simon Edwards second place there with Ward, Daniels, PM Jones, Anderson and Dunning in that lead group there. Behind them, it's Tufts and Mercer as they've lost Vaughan Roberts. What happened to him? We'll find out right now exactly what happened to Nicholas Vaughan Roberts. He ended up in pit road after crashing in the Wall of Champions. Oh, he cuts the curbing, spins out, and contacts the pit wall there. So Vaughan Roberts, unforced error, clipped the exit curb from that 4th chicane, and it spun him out. Those curbs are very big now.
They really, really are. Those curbings, especially for, these little Skippys right on board with Vaughan Roberts. It could just unsettle the car so much, and Roberts was the key benefactor in that incident. That was a complete self-spin on his own. It's such a shame to see that 252 machine far down the order so early, but the hit didn't look that bad, so he might be able to kind of get things rolling again if he can manage to get some momentum rolling.
Yeah, really, really is here as they're working their way into this one. trying to do what they can with it, but as it stands, move here for Edwards into that fourth chicane. Goes clear past Clay Hughes, will take the racing line here and should make it through here unmolested, but he's going to get a bit of a curb there. He will still keep his momentum up as everyone kind of hops sideways through that one, taking as much track as they can.
Those curbing, you really got to be careful, because just like we saw Von Roberts just oversteer into the inside wall, you could just as easily go straight into the outside wall, into the very famous Wall of Champions. So such a tricky chicane to try to pass him when you're going side by side. What Edwards did, though, he pulled that off perfectly to get the slingshot out from Hughes and go up the inside right before the braking zone. He even managed to get back on the racing line before they even got to the braking zone. So Edwards, really aggressive, and he's back up into the lead now.
Yeah, really, really is here, as now the running order has almost returned to what it was beforehand. Tom Ward now going to be coming for Clay Hughes in this lead group here. Anderson and Dunning dropped back a bit here from our lead group. They've lost about a second and a half, as I can see right now on the racetrack. Mercer being caught by Sigley from behind. He's going to work his way up to this group now. Going to see if he can make his way from 10th up into the 8th spot with these two ahead of him.
So we got two cars that are both trying to, fight their way up to the front. It'll be interesting to see what exactly they can make. The 35 going to look out. Anthony P.M. Jones going to try to duck up the inside, but he's not going to end up going for that look after all. Daniels, though, makes a big look to the inside of Tom Ward, scrubs off all of his exit momentum speed. And that was a bit of an opportunistic look right there, and I'm not quite sure that it was really worth it.
Not really at this stage, although I'm just right now looking at Simon Maltby in the rear here of this group, along with Cowan, Stack, Witt, and Bod Boland coming up ahead of this group now, all over each other. In fact, we might see Andy Witt going for a move here, or have a move made on him by Stack behind him. Stack goes to racing line, defensive line by Witt will not be beneficial for him here. Through goes Stack, and Stack going to go for a second move here on Bod Boland. Up the inside he goes, and oh, side by side there goes Stack as well. Oh, that was actually Witt who tried to make that move stick, and it did not.
Now, Andy Witt was very wise to get out of that gas, because he jumped over the curbing and the back end twitched. He was headed right for that tire barrier, so very wise move for Witt to really back out of that. Does that car have some issues? Because that Andy Witt is really slow on the track right now, so I think he might have some damage from that 3-wide contact we saw earlier. Looking back in front to your battle for the lead, though, Simon Edwards had a little bit of a scrap through that final chicane, but he did manage to hang on to his lead.
Yeah, so for now, looking towards that lead group right now. Tom Ward looking for a move here on Clay Hughes. Will he have an opportunity before the third chicane? Not sure he will, but he would try it if he could. Not close enough. Might have a chance, though, out of 10. Have to keep our eyes on this lead group to see what he will do with that one, because you've got to believe Tom Ward, if he can get past Clay Hughes, he will go all out for Edwards. He will take any opportunity for a win. Well, this driver, he wants it more than life itself. Although we got move out here, defensive slightly there from Hughes. Showing intent to Tom Ward not to try and pass him. Holds the line here. Good exit there from Ward in third place. We'll see if he can use this speed to make a move here on Hughes with the draft now, down from turn 10 to 11.
Simon Edwards is going to have to be looking in his mirrors as they thunder down the casino straight, or buzz down the casino straight. Hughes going to look outside with 52 in the run down to turn number 13. Edwards is going to give the spot up and allow Hughes to take the line successfully into turn 13 and 14 past the Wall of Champions. Tom Ward was not close enough to make that work. Now Edwards trying to fight back.
Certainly is, but not going to be close enough really to do anything for turn 1. May have to wait till the following lap here, as we're just past halfway at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Through turn 2, concertina effect, all the cars grouping up there with that front pack. Looking back towards Mercer, Tufts, and Sigley. Mercer is at the front of this pack now. He is up there in the 8th spot. Sigley still not found a way past those guys. Tony Stack and Bod Boland. Stack is currently running third in that pack right now, behind Cowan and Boland. Behind them is Simon Maltby, still holding on to that group. RaceSpotTV's own Paul Smith, where is he? He's in 16th place, started in 41st. Good on you, Paul Smith. They're in a 45 car. Absolutely flying.
So Paul Smith, our own little RaceSpotTV person over here, he's running 16th, so not a bad start for Paul at all, who's up 25 spots, like you just said.
Biggest
for
mover,
this
I
first
think.
Run. I think he actually is. Yeah, you're actually right. The only driver that comes close to him is Michael J. Taylor, who is in 20th place right now, and he made up 15 spots from the start. That's still another 10 that Paul's made up, so that has been absolutely phenomenal for both Michael and for Paul to make that work. Daniels nearly runs to the back of Tom Ward in turn 10.
Yeah, got very, very close there as a wide entry by Jones and a very narrow entry by Daniels. Nearly overcooked that one for these guys, but Clay Hughes leading right now. We should see the lead change here. Of course, it's always that effective. Second place gets a great draft on the undrafted first place. Third place doesn't quite get as much draft off second because obviously he's been pulled forwards as well. In fact, closed off there as Daniels looks to the inside. Will he dive? No, he takes the safer option there and does not plow headfirst Leroy Jenkins style into the mix. As out front, it will be Simon Edwards yet again. And we're going to see that change every lap, I think, at this point, Nolan. It seems to be what we're going to expect is just back and forth, and who positions himself second coming out of turn 10 on the final lap.
I'm agreeing with you on that one. It's looking like the lead will be swapping about, once every lap on the casino straight. Right now, it'll be Simon Edwards with the lead. So the question is, if that's the pattern we're going to be seeing, the back and forth between these two, which driver will it be when we get to the white flag?
Always a guessing game to an extent when it comes to Montreal Skippys. It's who strategically gets themselves into second place on tracks like this, where they can afford to just wait and be the one that strikes at the last moment and have the advantage.
That's the beautiful nature about tracks like these. You have these little sections where you kind of got to wait, but you also got to apply pressure because you can always pounce on an unsuspected victim and catch somebody that might be falling asleep at the wheel. Daniels looking left, looking right, gets back in line. So Daniels looking a bit racy, might be getting a little impatient here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, look, there's Hughes. He's coming after Edwards right now. Second place, they put a gap on Ward. Braking zone into T10. It's all about lining up that perfect shot out of the corner. It's getting a good, smooth run through. Maintaining your speed, having a good gap to first place so you don't have to lift off mid-corner and kill that particular momentum you've gained. And if they can keep passing like this and Tom Ward can't, it's going to drag the pair of them away in that tandem drafting style we see so much in these open wheel cars.
That seems to be the case. That seems to be the case here is, Lear Hughes, they are beginning to pull a small gap over Tom Ward in the run down to turn 10. And as I say that, Ward closed that gap right back in as they rumble onto the front straightaway. Edwards loses out the lead, looking to get around Lear Hughes. I don't think he's going to be close enough. He's going to have to get back in line.
Absolutely big mess here into turn 1 as look to the outside, Tom Ward, but backs out in time. Realizing it's not going to happen for turn number 2. Behind them, it's still going to be Daniels and Jones vying for position there, 4th and 5th place. Tom Ward's been very static, Nolan, since he's going to 3rd place. Really not tried to make any big moves forwards. He's had a few looks. He's explored. He's dug around in the weeds a little bit, but he's never actually tried to go for a move here, I don't think.
I think he's trying to set things up for when they get into these last, 3 laps or so of the race. Like Ward is at this point, I think, kind of eyeing up his prey. He's trying to find the section where he's the fastest through so we can try to get the best run out, set the pass up, and then get it done, maybe even go for a 2-for-1. Edwards looking to the inside of Hughes in the run down to turn 8. That is not going to work for him.
Absolutely not there, as Hughes, in fact, is through to the lead here. Edwards going to be in that advantageous location, but he's not going to stay there, I don't think. But in terms of lap sequencing, that's where we're going to have to really consider this. What will this do for him on lap 13? Where will he be at the start of lap 13? That's going to be very integral, I think, to how this thing plays out and how his overall result comes.
I have to agree with you on that one. It'll be, detrimental if Hughes ends up being in the lead when they get around to turn 10, because that's almost a guarantee that he's going to be the one to lose out on the lead. As there you see an example of just how powerful the draft is as Simon Edwards slingshots around it. They're not even by that Dodge banner yet before he's already through, clear, and both drivers back on the racing line. Edwards hard on the brakes. That back end sliding out. It makes me so nervous.
Oh, contact. Ben Daniels just clobbered the Wall of Champions. He fluffed the second apex of that chicane there and just ran wide, plowing into the end there of those tire barriers coming out of the Wall of Champions, and that'll be his race over.
Yeah, there's kind of goes back to the point I said, might be getting a little bit impatient. He was making a look to the inside of Jones, tried to back out and dive to the racing line, but he went in and tried to just take too much out of it and went into the tire barriers, completely destroyed the right rear suspension of the car. And that car's done for. He's not going to be making anything else this race.
No, I really agree with you. That's him done for this one here as we're on lap number 10. And it's very tight at the front there between Edwards, Hughes, Ward, and Jones. Behind them, Dunning and Anderson still motoring along 5th and 6th now. So one of them will get a top 5 out of this. That'll be an interesting definition to see how these guys fight now. But Mark Mercer's found himself a 3-second lead here over Tufts and Sigley, who are racing kind of separately right now. Sigley got past Tufts, but in the fight those two had, Mark Mercer's really jetted away. He's got 3 seconds now on those guys. Bod Boland just behind them. Peter Cowan separated out by a lap car here. Simon Maltby also in there ahead of Tony Stack now. Anthony Catt is after his lap 1 incident. Unfortunate for him there, but he's back in 14th place. Paul Smith up another one, 15th place for him. Keep going, Paul. Didn't qualify, working his way through that field. Up at the front though, coming out of turn 10. Lead group yet again here. Will we see more movement like we expect to at this point? Hughes gonna look to the racing line here on Edwards. Almost textbook at this point.
A little bit late of a move, though, for Hughes in the run down to the braking zone. Edwards got on the brakes a little early to let Hughes in, so make sure he didn't try to compromise his own line. 3 laps left to go here in Montreal, and there will be the question, what can Edwards do to try to get ahead of Hughes and stay there? Will Ward try to dive up the inside and maybe even make them 3 wide at one point? And can Jones make anything look in the background as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's always going to be one of those things that you just want to make sure you're keeping this thing in tune, and there's so much to keep an eye out on the racetrack, of course, for us, at least up in the booth, with what's going on here. But right now, the focus, of course, these groups we've had at the front right now. I think I just saw something happening with Anderson's pack. That is, in fact, I thought it was another driver. No, that's a lap car that's just in that frame. I do apologize. I thought there was more action going on there than we perhaps had. But right now, that top 5 fight became a top 4 fight, as we're seeing now. PM Jones still behind Ward there, but Ward still trying to wait for his opportunity. Do we think he's going to have time soon to make this happen? Because he's got 2 cars to pass and 3 laps to do it.
Now that'll be the big question. At this point, it's looking like he's almost not able to, make something work going into turn 10. It looks like he can't quite get the momentum he needs in the runoff of the corner. Edwards looking left. Hughes goes to cover. Edwards looking back to the inside, decides not to go for it. Here we'll see if Ward can really get that power down, because at this point, he would need to pass Edwards this lap, and it would be Hughes the next lap, and then they would just need to hold them both off for 1 in order to get this win. But, with Edwards getting that slipstream, I'm not sure that car has the speed.
It's entirely possible. Ward may have clobbered some curbing here and damaged his car. I'm not seeing any actual physical damage on the vehicle, but he may have got a little bit of a tweak somewhere that's affecting him, because he's just really not seen that. But this is one of the things we've seen with the meta of this car, Nolan, over the last few seasons, with it changing so much, is that we've seen that draft go away to the point where there was barely any, as the inside now goes Clay Hughes. But we also saw a period of time where we had this meta where the car would, everybody could draft past everybody. We'd have everyone ganging up to these great big packs. 3rd place could go past 1st, 5th place could go past 1st. We've returned to an era, I think, in how the car behaves, where 2nd place gets that big draft. 3rd place is cancelled out because of how much draft the car ahead of them is getting, so they don't get the opportunity to pass. It's more realistic. It's what would happen in these instances. But I'm just not sure necessarily that we're seeing it played out fully here. Tom Ward, I think he must be nursing something, because he's had opportunities, and he's really not opened that door yet.
It is interesting to see from Tom Ward to see him, kind of hanging back a little bit, being a bit more conservative. Edwards himself has been looking a little more opportunistic in these looks he's been making. Remember, just on the last lap, we saw him try to make a look into turn 10. That didn't work, and he is so close to the gearbox of Lear Hughes. You wonder if maybe Tom senses something that we don't, maybe a storm of brewing. So he's waiting for that storm to break so he can kind of pounce and go for the win that way. But I think you're right. Like, you know, the third place draft, it is getting canceled out. We've seen, you know, the draft battles for third and first, but nothing for second or fourth in itself.
Yeah, it's really not been happening so far today, as we've got Simon Edwards here in second place, lap number 12. Got him to 13. Now, this is where you want to stay behind him. This is where you don't want to pass, but he's going to do it anyway, I think, unless he's going to leave him the inside line. I'm not sure. You lose speed here. You bring Tom Ward into the mix, and that's not a party you want to be involved in. But he takes the position here. Can he hold ahead on the final lap, which is coming up in just a moment's time here? Or is he going to see if he can get Hughes to pass him on the lap? It's going to be very telling to see how this one plays forwards. Always the IndyCar-style draft breaking from Simon Edwards now. Last time around here at Montreal. All eyes on this lead group. Who will come out of this one on top? Will Tom Ward send it big in the final lap? Will he try and get his way in here and really interfere with this battle? Or will we see Clay Hughes take the obvious pass out of turn 10 and make a big run for this, Nolan?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It'll be, I think it's going to come down to that casino straight off in turn 10. Edwards has been taking some tighter lines, and he lost himself a good bit of ground through turn 2. With that tighter line, that allowed Hughes to get to his gearbox and nearly put him around. Edwards taking a little bit of a power slide through that second chicane, manages to hang on to that one. It'll be all down to Hughes now to get that run he needs off of turn 10.
This is going to be massive. I really am not sure what's going to happen here or what Simon Edwards is thinking with this. There's got to be a plan in his head. You can't believe he could hold ahead here from 10 backwards, so we'll have to see how he plays this. But he cuts the curb tightly, just pulls a bit of a gap there. Will hold what he can. Oh, we're going to see immediate draft braking. He's doing that already. He's pulled to the racing line. He is staying tight. Is he aiming for this draft break we could hope for to possibly stop Hughes getting that advantage? As here comes Ward looking into the corner. Oh, it fills Hughes' mirror with that car, which might have distracted him momentarily. Here he come out of turn 10. Up the casino straight now. This will be it, the last run. And there's a gap, but it's going to be close enough for Clay Hughes here to get a real move on Edwards. He is close enough. The straight looks long, but it's shorter than you think. He's staying tight here. He's going to force him to go too wide here rather than clear him in time. I don't think he will clear him. This is it. Too wide through the final chicane. They're going to force the doorway. Too wide, they'll go. Through the final corner. It's a drag race. And Simon Edwards will come across the line, which is a little further up ahead. It's not yet, as here comes Anthony PM Jones as well for second place. Huge for him. Where was that coming from? My God, what a run.
PM Jones played that off perfectly. Went into the grass to get around those two cars of Ward and Hughes. Can you say pass in the grass or what with the Skippys? Well, now you certainly can. The battle for 8th still coming down. Peter Cohen off of the final corner, and he's going to be able to hang on against Bob Boland to get that 8th place finish on
Paul Smith
for him.
Off the lead lap. Paul Smith side by side here with, I believe, Denny Wood there. Going to be looking for 13th place here. From 41st on the grid to 13th place. That is Paul Smith. Fantastic from him. Denny Smith Wood just losing out by millimeters there. And Cat brings it home, of course, as well in 15th place. What a race there we just saw. That finish from the lead group, I've got to say, Nolan, Anthony Jones capitalized massively there.
Oh, yeah, Anthony Jones, he definitely played that off perfectly the way he needed to in that run-up that he got to the checkered flag. That was absolutely phenomenal for him. And of course, you got to hand it to Paul Smith as well. 28 spots made up. Definitely by far the biggest mover of the day. Here's a replay of that run that Jones got through the final corner, takes it a bit tighter across that second apex, and then just goes right and goes straight into the grass to get around them. He is so lucky that he did not go into that wall. It's very easy to do with these cars.
Oh, insanely lucky. That was super close, but we'll go through your post-race results now. Coming home with the win today is Simon Edwards there with a final race win. Anthony PM Jones in second place with a top season result for him ever, I think. Clay Hughes in third, Tom Ward in fourth, with SJ Jennings in fifth. Lee Anderson, Mark Mercer, Peter Cowan there, Bod Boland in ninth with Nick Sigley in 10th. Behind them is Simon Maltby with a great result there, 11th place. Tony Stack, Paul Smith in 13th, Denny Wood, Anthony Catt, Daniel Tufts, Paul Gordon, Chris J. Robertson, and Mod Kiko? I apologize if I butchered that one, and John McGovern in 20th. Rest of those results up on your screen. I'm looking forward to hearing from Simon Edwards after this one, Nolan, because I've got to hear what he has to say from that end result there. That was bold. 2 wide through the final chicane at Montreal is a rarely seen treat.
Well, it's a rarely seen treat, and it's even more rare that we don't see a car ending up into the wall as a result of that. So, you know, you got to give props to all of those drivers all across the field for, you know, making that work. And it was certainly a brave move for, you know, Lear Hughes as well to try to go for that move. He gave it all he got, but in the end, he was going to have to settle for third.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what you said before this broadcast? I didn't think Montreal was that good a track for Skippys. Who's wrong now?
I think it looks like it is me, as is usually the case in situations like this. So I will take another one for the team on that one and say, yes, I was wrong. These tracks are fantastic for the Skippys. Let's have every race here. Why not? Because that was absolutely phenomenal.
Certainly exciting for sure. Either way, looks like we're not getting any guests. So what we are going to do here from RaceSpotTV is we're going to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And we will see you guys just before the new year, in fact, on the 30th of December. So very next Monday. Have a great Christmas, folks. From us at RaceSpotTV, we'll see you next time. Good night.